We're live.
Good morning, everyone. Good Sunday morning. It's episode 32, and you are here with Spirit Sessions, A View of the Light. And this morning we have Jamye Price. But before we get started, I'd like everyone to like this up and share it out to all your groups. We really appreciate it. The winner this week last week will be announced at the end of the show. This week's winner will win a half moon spread with Tersea Warren. So if you share it out the most, you will win these great prizes of priceless value. So share it out to all your favorite groups. We really appreciate it. And in just a second, we'll wait till everybody's on. We're getting lots of people coming on right now. So if you share it to your groups, that would be great. I'm going to share it out.
Welcome in, everyone.
Yeah.
I
Bex
got
Marie
about
is
2 more
away.
shares.
Bex Marie is on a vacation today in the Poconos, and this is a family time. She goes and she has a lot of fun with her family.
Beautiful
So
area, too. I've seen those pictures. Beautiful.
It's beautiful. She's been taking some wonderful pictures, but not enough Wi-Fi for this. And next week I'll be away. But I have to be away because it's my daughter's wedding. So I have to go to Victoria. I just have to go.
Right.
So
We'll allow it.
Teresa, you'll be with Christy and Andrea. Okay.
We'll be with 2 friends of ours from the Akashic Academy. Yes.
That's great. So Teresa, introduce us to Jamye, because I know you brought her along. You hooked her up with me, so it's quite interesting. I've been reading all her stuff.
Yeah. So look who we have with us today, the beautiful and amazing Jamye Price. I just adore watching this woman on YouTube when she channels her light language from the Lyman Council of Time. She uses her hands, her whole body. I feel it all through my own body, and it's so beautiful. And so Jamye Price is the author of her book, Opening to Light Language. She's an international energy healer and has even developed her own modality, crystal soul healing. So you got to check that out. Her light language is channeled from Arian of the Lyman Council of Time, and they're helping humanity with the ascension at this time. And if you stay tuned till the end of the show, we will have an amazing light activation. So welcome, Jamye.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm just so excited. My screen is all frozen right now. Well, maybe I know what I need to do. I need to go right here, and then I could see. There we are. I see you guys now. So we were having. Okay, you're just a fascinating person. Okay, and I just love the fascination. I could sit at your feet and learn day after day after day. You've got so much knowledge. But let's go back to the conversation we were having about J.R.R. Tolkien and the written language that was in that movie. I can't remember the movie. I'm just thinking about
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings.
There's like 6 or 7 of them now.
You were telling me. That. So the language
keeps on
that's
going.
written. Tell me about that. It was so interesting what you were saying. Can we start with that?
Yeah. So I talk about this in my book when I'm talking about elemental light language, because you can access galactic light language from different galactic species or timelines. You can access angelic light language or elemental light language, which we separate these because we're in the physical realm, but they are all more interconnected than it seems. But the elemental language is fascinating because it's a wide variety of options that are available there. And the ones that are most popular are Elven and Fairy. And of course, what J.R.R. Tolkien did with his books was he was focusing a lot in the Elven realms. And so the languages that he brought forth, he actually, in physical form, he was part of a group of people that would create languages. So he very logically found a progression of creating the Elven language that's used in the Lord of the Rings, and it's a complete language. But whenever we go through any kind of creative aspects like that, we're using sometimes parts of the logical mind and parts of the infinite mind or channeling. And you can tell that there was something deeper there because this has stood the test of time, that it has spread and really stayed with us in something that triggers much more than, oh, isn't that interesting? You know, it triggers deep feelings and resonance. And that's when you know that you're tapping into something that's expanded beyond just the human experience. So though he had a very physical and technical way of creating that language, I believe, I sense that he was tapping into something much deeper, because these elemental languages are things that we have had access to. When humanity's vibration was more resonant with these higher frequency beings, we could interact with them more. And this is why we have so many legends of being able to see the little people or the little people interacting with us. I remember that they have taught us things like how to handle our agriculture, how to handle different things, how to bring in written language. And I had an experience a couple of years ago where someone sent me some old language. It was a very ancient form of human written language. And though I could sense the human aspect of that, I could also sense that this had its origins in an elemental and elven realm, because we have worked with them to help us understand this realm. And when you keep going back, the elementals and the galactics start to feel more interconnected, because we're sensing elementals from other galactic species, especially a lot with the Syrians. That's not their only connection, but a really strong connection with those that we interact with as elemental.
Wow. That's so truly fascinating. Question, Rhonda?
You can almost, I'm just saying that everybody's just fascinated, and they're William's telling you you're beautiful. There's lots of our friends on today. So far, there's 37 people on. Good morning, everyone, and share it out. And thanks for everyone for coming. Good morning, Dallas and Monica and Kai and Krista and Kelly Jean. She's always in here today. Tonia's on here. New people, lots of lovely people.
Nice.
So Jamie's
Awesome.
Your webpage is in the links, so you can.
Yeah,
really cool
you guys.
I've got J.R.
check her
Tolkien right
out.
behind me on my bookshelf.
Do you really? Oh my God.
Absolutely.
That's so perfect.
Oh yeah, no, he's
No.
and my daughter's addicted too. I've been addicted since
Yeah.
I was 17.
When we were in California, we used to have a sword, and the sword had that language written on it, and I kept feeling, I know this is a real language, I just know it, but it was before I even knew half of what we know now. Which brings me, Jamie, you've been awakened for a long time in doing this energy work, right? How long have you been doing this stuff?
So I was not a psychic child. I actually had an awakening much later in life. And I love that there is so many different ways that we can all access this. So what happened with me is probably in 1987 is the first memories that I have of actual psychic experiences, even though I wasn't really sure what was happening. So at the time I was 17. And I was starting to see visions, and they would just happen every once in a while. I wasn't like in a deep meditative state. It would just occur. And I now know that that was the time of the harmonic convergence, but I knew nothing about it at the time, of course.
Right.
Then
Yes.
over the years, those started happening more frequently. And often the way that they would happen was an auditory thought in my head that was so direct and clear, and then it would be something that was proven within a few hours. And it was something that was so non sequitur and out of the realm of something that I was thinking about that I knew something odd was happening. So that started occurring more frequently. And then in about the mid 90s, I had another big opening. And that particular one actually corresponded with Halley's Comet. I certainly didn't know about the connection at the time, but it was around that time that I was getting another big opening. And some of it was things that I didn't understand until much later, like some physical things that were happening. I would get pain in different areas, like my third chakra, my head. I would have these horrible headaches that I didn't have an issue with normally in my life. And it was just part of that opening process. But I started seeing more and knowing more and having these conversations with my guides that I didn't even realize what it was. I'm like, that is so weird. I would kind of zone out and come back. I'm like, why was I just thinking about the healing properties of the color green? Like, nothing. I knew nothing about chakras, nothing. So eventually it started becoming clearer to me what was happening. And then I started being able to have conversations with my guides. And it's something that I can still do, but I like to clarify for people that this is not something that you need in order to have an ascension process, because you are constantly receiving communication from life. It's just a matter of learning how you process it. And it's going to come in all kinds of different ways. It often feels like your own thoughts at first because it's inside your head. But you start to notice the difference between what am I generating from my own thoughts and ideas versus what is communication with life. So probably in the early 2000s was when it had another big opening, and that was the time where I was starting to feel like this is all I want to focus on in my life. Of course, I couldn't at the time. I was still working in corporate, but it was starting to become much more evident to me that our healing, our internal healing, was the most important thing. And that process of channeling and whether it's communication that I understand logically or light language was opening up at that same time, which is same kind of information. It's information, yet we don't understand it logically at first. So those kinds of expansions were happening, and still to this day, we're continuing to move through a lot of change. Even recently, these past few months, July, oh my goodness, so much change. So much change. And
Amazing.
Sometimes it feels exciting, other times it feels frustrating, and yet all of it is moving you towards the same place, which is more conscious connection with the subtle realm. And when that becomes more conscious, we're starting to own more of our empowerment. And this is why I like to point out, it is not necessary that you are having these in-depth conversations with your guides. That will continue to open in different ways for everyone. But what is necessary is that you do that internal work so that you feel comfortable with how you communicate with life and how you are flowing with it through all the ups and downs that we're now having in the physical expression. It is so exciting, even though it's not always easy.
Yes, it really is. Your camera's just a little down, and I want to see your eyes more. We're not showing, so just up
thank
just
you.
a little
I
bit.
just chatted her
There.
that too. That perfect.
I
Okay.
can't see anything else except the...
Yeah, it gradually, but yeah, it's true. I noticed in my awakening, I could have awakened many times before because I've always had magical things happening. Like, wow, wouldn't it be neat if this happened, and then it would. And so I should have known, but finally the thoughts in my head started arguing with me in a different way. It's like, whoa, wait, why am I talking to myself different in my head now than I normally do? And I should have even realized then, but I slowly came to awaken. So you brought out so many neat points about that, because all of us are at the different stages, and those of you who opened before set it up for us. And so I thank you as we then set it up for the next one's awakening, and I love that. So thank you for
it just
being
gets...
bold and following.
Oh, thank you. I agree. It gets easier and faster for everyone behind us. And so the appreciation for all of those that were opening up earlier that had a longer, harder time of it in many ways. And it just continues to get easier for all of those behind us. And it's always a process of discovery because we're in the realm of experience. And so it's meant to unfold in unique ways for each of us, even though there will be similarities, because this is the time of empowerment. This is the time of really getting clear with our communication within so that then we're more clear of what we're emanating out and how we're communicating with life. I just love it.
Yes, yes, me too. I love that. Doesn't she give you guys the chills? Don't you guys feel all this deep inside? This is so cool. So let's talk about how you hooked up with the Lyrans and began this amazing channeling and healing work that you do now.
So when I started opening up, I didn't understand who I was talking to or anything like that. And yet I could feel the truth and the love and that kind of sensory experience was very natural to me. Over time, I started having different experiences where I could recognize the energies and my own past life experiences and things like that. So probably in the mid 2000s somewhere, I had been channeling a lot of different energies and had a quick download. I don't even know what triggered it, but it was just this knowing that I was Lyran. And it just came in so strong. It was like a thought in my head. I'm Lyran. And I'm like, well, that's weird. I don't have anything attached to it, but that, there it is. And
did you even know what Lyrans were at that point in time?
I had heard of what they were. I had heard of the star system, and I knew there were other groups. I'm sure I had heard of it, but I didn't have any reference for what it meant at the time. I did not, because I remember later coming across Lisa Royal Holt's book, The Prism of Lyra, and I'm like, oh, I need to read that. So I knew of, but I didn't know much detail. And I actually, it was, but at the time I was like, well, that's kind of normal. We have all kinds of weird thoughts. So the very soon after that, within a few days, I happened to have a session scheduled with someone, like a psychic reading, and one of the first things that she said was, "You're Lyran," and the validation was really nice. And she said, "Lyrans create templates," and at the time, I didn't realize fully that I was creating a modality, but I was creating a template, and I knew something like that was happening, and so that really resonated, and that is what became Crystalline Soul Healing. It's a Lyran template. It is a template of healing that your higher self accesses in order to shift and activate certain things for you. So all of that really resonated. But then many years went by. That was the mid-2000s, and it was November of 2012. And I had been channeling publicly for many years, but I would channel oh my goodness, my camera is just going wacky. Sorry about that. Let's keep an eye on it. I had been channeling for years, but it was always all kinds of different energies, whatever was appropriate at the time. And November of 2012, I had this experience that just spontaneously started happening where this group came to me and they said, "We're the Lyran Council of Time, and we'd like for you to channel us more directly." Because I'd been working with them for a long time, but they hadn't ever wanted to just channel directly. So they said some specific things. One of them that humanity was now on a certain timeline where their information could help us more. So that felt resonant to me. And so their channeling is always about helping us to work most especially with our thoughts and our feelings, our subtle bridge, so that we are becoming more conscious communicators and creators. So that whole process of healing our history and the things that the Lyrans represent, which mainly is masculine, feminine, energetic balance, which is like our macro separation. When we heal that and we're working with both of those energies evenly, that's when we are more fully empowered and more whole in ourselves. So it's always coming back to those core ascension energies.
Wow. That is just so amazing.
So goes the world, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. So thank you for bringing that through and teaching that to so many people and your healing modality to help. I mean, I could see all these little pieces help the whole collective all along. It's beautiful. So thank you. Would you like to do the activation now? I know it's a little bit early, but it's got to be awesome. I know it.
Absolutely. So what I'd like to do is bring through a light language transmission and crystalline soul healing transmission, but that part's silent, that your higher self will activate the encodements for you. So you will release and you'll activate in a way that's perfect for you. And I'd like to focus on opening the heart more and accessing more of that empowerment of love. So just in that general broad framework there, what that's going to do for you is unique to you. So take a nice, deep and relaxing breath. And while I'm doing the transmission, just see what you notice. You might have thoughts or feelings that come up. You might notice some physical sensations or some psychic sensations like seeing colors or something. Just observe and know that we've already set boundaries, that you're going to release and activate whatever is perfect for you through your higher self. Suramat ironat irashtai, janot surmak iro karatairet elel inem, bat sum pyro at ikiem. Jan sarustan durmasakero ut dal hadanat irumakiama. Jan sanduramek erusteru at siret heret ilel inem. Zan standu sakerumak irumesteru al, ta staru naserumat irum. Kam charuma saktaru et iristel net suku arastayam atsum. Dum sarumasteru nesur tat ilel enam, kan ston sarunat iru. Bun setu ur. Zen stum teru uk akat et set asteru metset siru un, tani ikieru kam. Utsats. Tan kairumak ten shan tsum kam tat iratel. Et shum tset unum kema kim. Tet ukua tan san umet shur sakiru at ira teru netsutsum hash. Hotatatsu uemet sheruka. Okay, taking another deep breath. Good. want to share some of the things that I was getting during this transmission. And remember, yours might be a little different because your higher self is activating the encodements for you. So there was definitely a lot moving with the heart, but the things that stood out that were a little different was I was noticing a lot in the throat and also a lot in the third chakra. And for me, my body temperature went immediately hot. So the energy felt very nurturing, but I also knew because of that heat, there was a lot burning off to help amplify that love energy. Nice.
Wow. Wow. I loved it. What I felt first, because I'm a visual person of a different kind, I felt someone's arms like standing on the right side of me, but I felt them having their arm across me and holding on to my left. And first they were showing a table in front of me, and I couldn't understand, why am I seeing this table like it's like full of food, like, look, this is all for you or something. And then coming up from the left, I felt these beautiful waters, like I'm in the ocean, very extra salty water, but there were this neatest blue-green waves lapping up against me. Blue-green. It was the most beautiful, but so salty. And so I don't know what all that was, but that's what I was getting. How about you, Rhonda?
I always want to say, Teresa, I want to have what you're having. I was going to say, I'll have what she's having. I kept hearing the soul and the heart is one, and that came right, like just clicked through my head right this way. But the language is always so familiar to me. I don't understand it, but it doesn't sound crazy. You know what I mean? It sounds familiar. It sounds very familiar to me. So it's always interesting. And some of our Dottie said her left ear is ringing quite loud now. Anne says, thank you, speaking like language for a whole time. That's from Anita. She says, that felt hard in my heart chakra. That's Anne. She's from the Faroe Islands. So a lot of people are thanking you for that. That felt like I was just sprinkled with fairy dust, is what Steph John said. And Jessica said she felt the vibration so high. It was just beautiful. It's just beautiful. That's all I can say. That's great.
I love that. Thank you, Jamie. That was so beautiful what you brought through to all of us.
Thank you.
Now you guys can all see why I love watching her. I love watching on YouTube. I go to YouTube and I like to binge on things. So I won't just watch one video. I'll go through and I'll watch other people interview you, and I'll watch and I'll listen, and I just feel so good by the end of the day when I do that. So thank you for putting yourself out there and doing that. And your scenery is beautiful too.
Yes, Sedona is gorgeous.
Yeah.
So what's coming up for you next, Jamie? What can we get in on with you next?
So there's a lot that's available. I've been doing this for a long time, and I love teaching and sharing. There is a lot of free stuff that's available that you were referencing, a lot of videos, a lot of blog posts, things that you can read. I have a book, Opening to Light Language, and I do classes online every month. And one of the big things that's coming up is in October here in Sedona, I am teaching light language. So I help nurture people through the opening process, and it is such a beautiful gift to not only share that with someone, but to see them doing that in community. Because when it first started happening to me, I did not know what was occurring, and luckily it was a loving experience, but then as it started coming out of my mouth, it became a scary experience to share that.
Yes.
So it is
I can imagine. Yeah, I get
beautiful honor to help people not feel so weird about that. Weird is becoming the new normal. So that's in October here in Sedona, and through August, it's still on early bird pricing. So if you're interested in that, please come join us.
We've got it.
You can find that link on your webpage that we put in your links to here. So.
Yes. Yes, jamieprice.com.
You have a lovely webpage too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I know so many of us feel
Teresa,
like
do you
we're on the
want
verge of speaking the light language. Even Rhonda
Yes.
spontaneously pops up with it. It's like, whoa, there
Yes.
goes Rhonda.
Yeah, it is something that anyone can do. We all have the capability. It's just a matter of tapping into it and allowing that channel to flow. So, yes, something we're all
Oh,
open to.
I love that. I love that. All right. Thank you. I'm so happy. I'm going to get to the announcements now. Right after our show at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, we got Kathy Homeyer and the Nourish Your Multidimensional Body, and she's got another amazing guest, and they're doing some really cool things. Tonight at 8 Eastern Time, we have Janelle Cameron and her show, The Cosmic Ascension Report. And now, if you've all been sharing it out, who shared it out last week? Our winner who gets a chakra clearing with Rhonda is Alexandra O'Hare. Woohoo! So this will be so good for you, Alexandra. I
And
know
I'll get
it.
in touch with you, Alexandra, when I get back from the wedding.
Yeah, that
The
makes
wedding,
sense.
my wedding. Yeah, my daughter's wedding. So.
And so whoever shares this one out this week will get that 7-card half moon reading with me, and that reading digs deep underneath the emotions and the subconscious of things and brings it to light to show you how to move past these things with ease and grace. We'd like to invite you all to, like the Akashic Academy page, but if you want to go deeper, for $11.11 a month, you can join the membership group where we get even more lessons, we get even more moon ceremonies and all kinds of things going on over there in the membership group. And so you really want to be a part of that. Anything else, Rhonda? Check out our YouTube page.
No, yep. And you can, see us at Spirit Sessions resource and replay page. We also have Bex, who will be back. She's on Bex Divinely Guided Inspirations, and Teresa, who's on Claim Your Akashic Inheritance, and I'm on Cerulean Forest Reiki. And you can find us all there. Our links are all in the links in this page. And just be the light you want to see in the world. That's all, I guess, is the basic message.
Yeah.
Be that light, and it shines forth, and it's just contagious, I think.
And go binge watch Jamie on YouTube and feel more of that light language. I mean,
sure.
You guys will not regret that. It's good time spent. Good time.
That's
a
good way to activate your light for the day, right?
Woohoo!
Yeah. Thanks so much, Jamie. Really appreciate having you here today.
Thank you.
Till next week when Teresa's on with Christy Warnick and Andrea Stefanowski. Sorry, Andrea.
Our Akashic sisters.
We'll see you next week. Blessings for the week.
Namaste.
Bye.